Rumours are that potentially we could actually send forward military arms to the Kurds there.
Well, I mean, we're slightly Johnny-come-lately with this. I mean, the Americans have already said that they will supply military weapons to the Kurds, and so have the French. And to be honest, they're just as good at doing it as we are. Certainly the Americans are rather better at doing it than us. I think this is part of the UK government sort of desperately casting around for something to be done. I mean, you saw what happened earlier in the week, David Cameron talking up reports of thousands upon thousands of refugees on the mountain. I think that showed the paucity of our intelligence, because obviously when US Special Forces went in there and were actually on the mountain, it turned out that there were only about 2,000 or 3,000 people, half of which were goat herders that didn't want to go anywhere anyway. I think this is more about sort of political posturing, about seen to being a statesman. I'm afraid our policy in northern Iraq has been a shambles for an extraordinarily long time, and what you're seeing is that ISIS are fast-moving. Where they are at the moment, because of the airstrikes, is in Syria. And they're making ground in Syria. They've sort of given up on northern Iraq for the time being. They've got the ability to do that, fast-moving troops, very small numbers of people, usually in pickups. And actually, it's quite hard for the West to formulate any kind of response without boots on the ground, which, of course, is politically unacceptable both here and in Washington.
Well, first it was just going to be humanitarian help. Now there's talk that the Kurds, they might start arming the Kurds there. Do you think it's a slippery slope to even further military action there?
I don't think it is. I don't see it being politically acceptable here, and I don't see it being politically acceptable for Barack Obama to do anything. It might actually, curiously, be the right thing to do in this circumstances, whereas perhaps in the past it wasn't. But the memories of Afghanistan, the memories of Iraq the last time, just don't make it possible. I mean, we're, what, less than a year out from a general election here. If you were a British Prime Minister, would you really want to sort of get involved in a foreign adventure? And we're not going to do it without the Americans, and Obama doesn't show any sign of being interested in that either.
And will arming the Kurds even be enough then? It
will help. I mean, it will presumably prevent ISIS from taking much more ground. What you could see, I suspect, is a sort of a gradual escalation of that, there'll be military advisors, there'll be special forces, they won't want to talk about it, but it is absolutely crucial for Western interests that Kurdistan as an entity remains strong, as it is to get some sort of political solution in Baghdad, which is still a mess. We've got rid of al-Maliki, the Prime Minister. That seems to have gone through, but I don't think that's a sort of panacea. That isn't going to solve any of the sort of inherent problems that are facing Iraq.
And in terms, you said it's been a shambles how we've handled it so far. What should David Cameron be doing? What exactly is the government getting wrong?
I think what the government is getting wrong is actually in the policy, and I think the policy towards Iraq has been wrong for a very long time. It's not actually about the public-facing stuff. The problem with this government at the moment is it wants to be sort of shouting and be seen to be strong and saying things. But actually, it's the behind-the-scenes stuff that's gone wrong. It's the fact that we haven't had a consistent position. We haven't put enough pressure on al-Maliki when he was basically running a sectarian regime which directly led to the Islamic State. We didn't do anything about that, and now we're all suffering the consequences of it.